Hello, and welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast. I am your host, Jen Rulon, or you may know me as Coach Jen on the gram. Well, today I have a very special guest, friend, mentor. Oh my God, so many words for her, Mary Stockton, who Mary and I met 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lockdown.
2020, it was lockdown. And
Yeah.
I was in this one group. It was a very women's spiritual connection group. And this one woman suggested that I reach out to Mary for some breath work. And I was like, okay, let's reach out to Mary and work on some breath work. And I just loved what she taught me, what she showed me. And then I loved it so much that I put her in my book, Self-Motivation Strategies for Women, on page 108, talking about learn to breathe. So, Mary, welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast.
Thank you so much, Jen. I'm so thrilled to be here. I just love what you're doing. I love it.
Thank you.
I love
Thank
it.
you. You've always been a supporter. At one point, we talked about doing retreats down in Costa Rica. I think that's a possibility, but
I'm waiting. I'm signed up.
I know
I
you're
have my bag. It's
waiting.
ready. It's just
I
right. It's over
know.
there.
You know what I've actually envisioned is Everyday Healthy Human program, and then it's an ongoing thing. And then at one point, we all get together in Costa Rica and celebrate all of our wins.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Right?
that. People telling their stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
tell the followers a little bit about you, and then if you wanted to do the grounding breath, we could do that, or whatever,
Okay.
vice versa.
Okay. Well, as Jen said, my name is Mary Stockton. I am a New York transplant to California. I'm a Los Angeles-based health and wellness professional. I've been doing breath work since 2009, when no one knew about it and people made fun of it. So I'm a Master Breathwork Facilitator, an intuitive Bodyworker, and a holistic coach. Those three titles really are the essence of my work because I use it all together. Sometimes a session is it's always breath work. It's always a cycle of breath work. Sometimes there's more body work in the breath work, depending on what I see. And then I work in package sessions. And that's how I was taught, because it's the breath work that I do is healing breath work. So it's about trauma. It's about aligning the body. The breath is a mind-body connector. So the coaching comes in with the packages in between the sessions. What comes up? What awarenesses do you have? I mean, the breathwork sessions are always beautiful. They're always, they're not dark. They're not traumatic. They're things when you go into breathwork, everything in your brain goes just disappears. So you're just with your body and your breath, and then that allows your awareness to shift. Mm-hmm. So whatever comes up, sometimes people will uncover traumas, but most of the time the trauma is recognized and released just by the movement of the body and the breath out. So that being said, that's where the coaching comes in, is what's coming up for you? What did you experience? So it's basically a support to the process of the packaging. So some clients I will work with for 10 sessions, because I mean, I think you know this. Let me just say, I worked also as a personal trainer for more than 10 years because I love the body. I love fitness. I'm fascinated by it. Then I got my degree. I have an MA in spiritual psychology. And I also did many hours of yoga teacher training just to deepen my practice and deepen my experience. So I use all of that in my work. The love of the body, the information from training people for years, and you know the psychology of people and physical fitness and how that is. So when you're working with people, whether it's in a training session or even the work, especially the work that I do, is people aren't always honest the first time in the consultation, in the questions, because they're embarrassed, or, you know, I've had people as a trainer not share medications they were taking.
Oh,
so,
no.
3 or 4 sessions in, I'm like, why is your heart rate not going up? Well, So
Yeah.
that's the reasoning for the package sessions, is to establish trust, to establish a base, to open up, to make the work deeper. So all of
Sure.
those are tools. And I have, this is a little more on the spiritual side, but I have in the sessions, I discovered in my work that I have the ability to hear and see images. So I hear things and I see images, and usually it's related to the person that I'm with. So
Yeah.
I'll hear a name, or I'll hear something. And so when the session is over, we will talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that builds on the coaching aspect, that builds on the processing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, about the hearing and
100%.
the, yeah. It's
I
not
mean,
psychic. It's an intuition. I hear.
intuition.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
often have dreams and hear names, and I'm like, okay. And then I wake up in the morning and I call that person. And I'm like, oh, I'm so
yes.
glad you called. I'm actually in the ER. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
that. It's a very deep connection. So
Yeah.
that's me in
But
a nutshell.
you're also very in tune with it. And a lot of people who have gifts like that won't take those gifts because they're like, oh, I don't want to be that person, or I don't want to be, whatever it might be. But honestly, like, it's one of probably the most beautiful things that I've seen on my own development journey on myself, and then just have used you and all my other friends that are at another completely level, and it's absolutely beautiful. So
Yeah, I
the
think
intuition
the
piece.
embracing of that. Yeah, and the funny thing is that people around me very lovingly and over many, many years have referred to me as a witch. Mary's
Oh,
a
of
witch.
course.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
for a while it wasn't so nice, and now I'm like, yep,
Right.
that's
Yep.
right,
That's
I'm a
right.
witch. Be
Yep.
careful.
Yeah. Sometimes I
Anyway.
will. No, I was going to say, at one point I said, I would ask the universe, I'm like, hey, I don't know what's going on. Like, can you just, if this isn't supposed to happen, can you just show me? Can you
Yeah.
just help me out? And then all of a sudden, the universe shows me it wasn't supposed to happen. And I'm like, got it. Thank you.
Yes.
It's just asking, it's just that simple
Yes.
ask.
So I'll go further in that. It
Okay.
is, if we just take a second, actually, let's do it. Let's
You
just
want to do it? Okay.
let's just take 2 breaths, because
Okay.
we're going to go on for 3 hours. I can feel it. So
I know. That's what we got to do, 2 parts, I
let's
think.
get a little grounded. Let's get a little grounded.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to, okay, let me just say this first. If someone says to you, take a deep breath, what do you do? Right?
Right.
That's often what you see. And it's all over TV. Oh, take a deep breath. And you see the person go,
Yeah.
no. So I will tell you this right now, anybody listening, going out there, if someone says to take a deep breath, or you hear inside of yourself, oh, I need to take a breath here, it's not through the mouth, and it's not a quick, shallow breath. It's like this. I'll do it first. All the breath comes out. Okay. So the exhale is always longer than the inhale. When you're centering yourself and you think, I need to take a deep breath, you want to calm, you want to get into the rest and digest and out of the fight or flight. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 2 breaths. We're going to do through our nose, nice and easy, fill the belly, fill the chest. And then we're going to do like we're blowing through a straw out the mouth until all of it is gone. And then a little pause, and we'll take one more. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's let all of our breath out. Now we're going to take a nice, easy breath through the nose. Little pause, push the belly in, let it all out. Little pause, and in the nose again. Filling the belly, then the chest, little pause, and then just take a regular breath in through the nose. Nice, easy exhale out of the mouth. Mouth open. Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah. I on that second breath, I started moving forward because I'm standing.
Yeah.
And it just was like, okay, I'm in the right space. I'm in the right moment. It was a beautiful feeling. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So that's the centering breath. So when someone says take a deep breath, or your intuition goes, oh, I need to calm down here, take a breath.
Yeah.
It's always through the nose.
Beautiful.
Any breathing you're ever doing should always be through the nose. Now, we're not talking about sports. I mean, that's a whole different podcast. That's a
Right.
different, every sport, every event, everything has a different breathing rhythm, I guess, for lack of a better term. Now, if you're just hiking and you get out of breath, I've done this test too with other people hiking, going up a hill. People are just, so I just close my mouth, and I just start focusing on my breath. And what happens is your body starts to pace itself to keep the breath
Mhm.
moving. So you're getting more nutrients, you're getting better air. And so I found in my little test that I do hiking, when I get to the top of the hill, I'm the least one gasping for breath. And that doesn't mean I'm the one in the best shape necessarily,
Right.
but I'm not the one gasping for breath because I'm breathing more efficiently. So
Yeah.
in your daily life, it should always be in through the nose and out through the nose.
Beautiful. I mean, just today, I was trying to rush a whole bunch of waves, and I was like, okay, just get past the break, get past the F zone, and just sit on your board. And I literally did that, Mary. I literally remembered what we talked about years ago. Even in my book, I was like, okay, you got to stay grounded, even though I'm on the water, right? I just had to
Mm-hmm.
get those 2 deep breaths in, and 3, and be like, okay, you got this. Cause I was getting really frustrated and just like, it's like, Jen, you've only been doing this for 4 weeks. Do not put the pressure on yourself. Enjoy the ocean, because the ocean's gonna win.
Every time.
Every time, every
Every time.
time,
Yes.
every time. And so,
Yes.
and then the great thing is that um, that next wave I caught, I actually was able to do a couple of my first cuts. I was like, oh my God, this is what we're talking about here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and that's what happens with the breath is while you're in, say, in that moment and you're like competitive Jen comes in, the brain comes in, I gotta.
What?
So what happens is your breath actually is changing. And so you're going into fight or
Oh,
flight because you're fighting
yeah.
against yourself, really, right?
Yeah.
Your mind is your real competition. So your breath changes. So you're not going to be able to do anything properly or
Oh my
well.
gosh.
So you took a minute, you took your breath down, and so you turned off your panic and your anxiety and you brought it down. That
Yeah.
allows you to move in a different way because
Oh
this is
yeah.
panic. This is constant
Yes.
panic receptors. So when you bring it to the belly, then the lower lung opens up. Then that actually shuts off that shot of cortisol and adrenaline, and it
Yeah.
brings you into relaxation. And if you can get the breath down into the lower belly, like we talked about, all the way to the top of the groin.
Yeah.
So what happens is that lower lung, which I mean, I think the number of globally, the number is so high of people. We just globally don't breathe deep. We're shallow breathers globally. And so when we actually take the time to engage the lower lung, it's diffused with receptors. And the word is escaping me. Think of it now. But
That's
the
okay.
blood, there's more receptors in the lower lung than anywhere else in the lung. So when you
Interesting.
actually let all your breath out and the next breath you
Mhm.
take in, it fills the lower lung first. So think about
Ah.
that beautiful, clean, nutrient filled oxygen going to the lower lung and getting the absolute most absorption into the body first.
Mhm.
So what
Mhm.
happens if you're breathing shallow, you're retaining CO2, you're retaining carbon dioxide. So it's the
Sure.
next breath you take, you're still full of carbon dioxide. So it's a vicious cycle. And so what happens when that carbon dioxide stays in the body and we're in fight or flight all of the time,
Yeah.
there's a domino effect because that carbon
Yes.
dioxide is a toxin. It has to go somewhere. So the
Mhm.
body goes, well, she's not breathing it out. So what am I going to do with
Right.
it? And that means the other organs go, well, let me help, let me help, let me help.
Yeah.
Which, if this organ is made to do this, say it's the liver, it's made to do this.
Sure.
And then the lungs go, well, I need your help over here. Then the liver's not functioning efficiently either.
Right.
So you can see
Right.
that there's a domino effect. And so that's the long-term cause of disease,
Yeah.
cardiovascular problems, circulatory problems. I think autoimmune. I mean, it's still being researched, but I think it's a big
Mhm.
autoimmune problem. So anywhere that you may have weakness in the body, that's where they're going to go.
Interesting.
And I think we
Interesting.
might have talked about too that this number of 70% of toxins are released through the breath.
Really
70%, yeah, 70%.
interesting.
The other 30 is urination, defecation, and perspiration, obviously.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
70%. Imagine that
70%.
globally we don't breathe properly.
No, we don't.
So it's not. I mean, besides food and all of that, it's no surprise that
Yeah.
there are illnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I mean, so then somebody's stressed at work or the kids are stressing them out. You can always go back to what we just did.
Yes.
You just sit and just be like, kids, I'm going to the bathroom. And you might not be going to the bathroom. Don't take your phone. Don't do anything. Like, you go sit in that bathroom and you take those 2 deep breaths through the nose and let go of that CO2. You're probably going to come out as a better parent, a mom, a dad, a coworker, whatever that might be. Like, take advantage of your
Yeah.
breath, because people might be like, well, you know what? I just need to go whatever. I need to go out to eat or go
I
have a
know.
drink,
I'm going
right?
to go in the pantry and eat a chocolate chip cookie, or,
Exactly.
take a swig of
Exactly.
something. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
exactly it, and all if we could focus on the breath, that might solve a lot of our own issues. And I mean, prime example was me out on that surfboard today. Prime example. And I didn't even think about it until we started talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And I
great.
think that you would attest to too is that I say this to, yeah, because the workshop we were talking about earlier that I do is
Oh,
that
yeah.
for very beginners is, um, once I do the workshop and the feedback, I mean, I think you can say this too, after we work together, you you never not thought about your breath. Like, it would
Right.
come into you, like you were all of a sudden in your daily life, you had an awareness, a breath consciousness, a breath
Yep.
awareness. And that doesn't mean we have it all the time, but from that point
Right.
on, it is there.
Hmm.
And that's the biggest feedback I get from people is, oh, I thought about you today because blah, blah, blah. Thank you so much. And I love that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
breath is free. You
I
don't have to
love
go to a
that.
gym. You don't have to buy
Right.
anything, and you can, and it's
Right.
empowering. And it's, there's that cliche of, all you have is today. There's only the
Right.
present moment. Well, that's cliche because it's true. It really,
Right.
really is true. And so if you take a minute to
It's
get to your breath, that's all there is.
yeah.
Your
Yeah.
life force
Pe-
and you. That's it.
yeah. People have asked me, like, how did I start meditation? How did I do all that? And it was that group was really helpful, that
Hmm.
taught us a little bit about meditation. And I did a whole bunch of reading of Gabby Bernstein's, but now I don't take anything out to the beach. I have the beach and my cup of coffee and my timer on my phone, and I turn it on airplane mode, and I have my breath, and I have
Yeah.
the ocean and my own thoughts. And
Yeah.
it's absolutely magical. Now, did it take me a while to get to that space? Yes. But
Yeah.
once I sit in with myself and that breath, it I have no issues at all, no worries at all. And
No,
sometimes
because it doesn't
yeah,
matter. It's only the
it
present
doesn't
that
matter.
matters. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's your mind that takes you
Exactly.
to the other.
Yeah.
That's what the
Well, and
breath and meditation does. Yeah, go ahead.
let's talk about this, because I think anxiety is, skyrockets. I think the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure. Like, how can is it do you want to elaborate on any of that through with breath work or whatever you might
Well,
think? I don't know.
in what specific way? Like, do you mean like daily stress, or because just when you were speaking, I was thinking, because and I'm a big observer of people. It's my work, right? So
Yeah.
what I've been observing the masses through the pandemic, and
Sure.
that we weren't we weren't communicating, we weren't socializing, all of those things. And
Right.
there's collateral damage that we're all feeling. There's after effects. And so what I'm noticing in the last couple of months, especially, is, um, people are going to the restaurants more in a way that they hadn't been. And maybe it has to do with the ban being the thing being released, like it's over, and this
Yeah.
sort of a relax, like an exhale almost, with,
Mhm.
okay, the WHO says it's over. So I hate to talk about the pandemic, but that's what I'm observing is, we were in a constant contraction for more than 2 years of fear and not knowing. And the fear of the unknown is so, just in daily life, is
Yes.
so strong. Take a step
Yeah.
forward. What if there's no stair?
Right.
Whatever that is. And so that's a contraction. So what I'm observing is people are starting to exhale. They're starting to relax a little bit back into life and society. And so I went to a couple movies, oddly enough, in the last few weeks, and I went to see the Barbie movie
Yeah.
because I was curious. And I
Of
went
course.
with my friend. My friend was in town from Europe, and and so we went to see the movie, and I'll just say this, an observation was that what I observed was, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but it takes place in
Not yet.
Venice and Century City. And so,
Right.
and I happened to be meeting him in Venice, and we went to Century City to see the movie.
Oh,
And so
funny.
everybody was wearing pink, and everybody's like, hey, Barbie, hey, Barbie.
Yes.
And so for me, my friend was like, and I was like, listen, if I was here with my daughter, we would so be in pink right now. But what
Right.
I observed was, it made me so happy because people were socializing again. People were interacting again. Like people were in community again. And that to me was beautiful. And I went to see another movie, and it was the same. The theaters were full, people were talking. And I thought, oh, maybe this is the relaxation aspect of what we've been going through. So that's on a larger scale. If you think about contraction and breath. So if you bring it down to something even as small as, I don't know, I always think of this one of being pulled over by a police officer, because we all freak out, even if we didn't do anything wrong. Like, everything's good, but I'm freaking out. And so what happens is you freeze, right? You start to sweat. So if you can just breathe while you're waiting for that person, you're not going to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or fluster over what you're looking for. So that I use that one because everybody can relate to that contraction that happens when the lights go up, right? So that's a small thing. And then there's also like, if you hit your shin on the bed, we all know what that's like. And if you think about the last time you did it, see, you're even contracting now thinking about it, right? Because it hurts so bad.
So bad.
So bad. And so stress in life is the same way, but because it's not painful in that way or singular, like a police officer pulling you over, we become desensitized, and we start to live in that place.
Mm-hmm.
So I found this too when I was in Italy for the summer. Everything slows down. It's a whole different lifestyle. And I realized in California, we are breathing, we are meditating, we are going to classes, and all of these things and I realized are things we do to cope with the lifestyle that we're living in this fast-paced place, especially Los Angeles, especially these little pockets. And so, I mean, in Italy, I was walking and eating fresh food. And I didn't feel like, oh my God, I'm so stressed, I have to meditate. I did breath work exercises. I did breath work with people there, and they were like, what is this? This is, like, it was really fun. But in observance, I was like, oh, so LA, I mean, I can't speak for other cities, but there's some, but it's a constant state of stress. So that is why it's really important yes, it's good to do all of the things, to use all the tools we have at our disposal, to be physical, to take care of our minds and our bodies. Of course, the 4 things: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. Every day, a little something. So with breath work, even if you once a day, you go, oh, nothing stressful happened today, but I feel sort of anxious. Anxiety is always in the belly for whatever reason. That's just where it's centered. So if you're anxious, and that you're anxious because your mind is thinking about something that you're worried about, or something that might happen, something that did happen. So when you take a minute to breathe deep into the belly, like we just did a few times, even if that stressor continues to be there, you're giving your body a break. You're breaking the cycle of the chronic stress. Even if it's just for 5 minutes a day, it's better than 0. Because your body goes, oh, thank you. Now I'm going to do this for a few minutes. Oh, thank you. I'm going to do this for a few minutes. So that's where there's 2 things that go on when you hear breath work, especially in the work that I do. Is there's breath work for healing, which is the sessions that stack on each other, because that's a healing breath work, and that's a certain kind of breath work. And then there is breath work where you go to a circle, and it's sort of like going to
I've done that.
a workout. It's very similar. Like if you want to feel better and you go for a walk and you get your breath up a little bit, you're going to feel better, because you're giving your body what it needs. Things are moving efficiently. And so circles are like that too. And they're great. And so, but it isn't something that really is realistic to do on your own all the time, because it's pretty intense. So then the other side of that is, just exercises. There's different,
Right.
I mean, now we're so lucky. You can just Google it all and you can find different ones to
Yeah.
do. You know, there's
Right.
the
I've
four,
done,
four, seven,
I've
eight,
done,
you know, those
oh
ones.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was going to say, like, I've done a couple breathwork sessions in Costa Rica and Nasara, and there's a gentleman that does it. And like the first one I did, I I laughed the whole time. I don't know
Yep.
why, like, because I just heard people laughing, right? And then
Yes.
the second one I did, I wasn't really into it. I was very distracted. I had so much going on in my personal life. I just moved down to Costa Rica. So I was like, I had nothing for that breath work.
Yeah.
And then the third one I did was incredible. And I walked away like smoking a cigarette, feeling amazing. Like it was
Yes.
like, this is incredible. Like,
Yes.
but but like I don't have to do that every single week to do, and it's interesting because I think
Right.
a lot of people will do that, but like you said, your breath is free. And there's so
Yes.
many tools and there's so many coaches online, such as yourself, that can really help people, take care of yourself in your own home. I don't expect you guys to come to Costa Rica to
Right.
do breath work.
Right.
You can do breath work in the comfort of your own
Yes.
home, even if you have to close the bathroom or the pantry to get away from your kids,
Yes. Yeah,
and
I've done it
that's
with people in their
where,
car.
yeah.
So, I mean,
So can you,
it's not recommended, but I mean, if you have to
right.
do it, you have
Well,
to do it. You know, it's
right. And
different, but
I was going to say, if you guys were listening in the car, please don't shut your eyes and try to do
no,
breath
I
work,
meant to say
like,
that too. Like, if you're going to do it with us,
right.
don't shut your eyes. Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
shut your eyes.
Yeah.
If you are
Yeah.
driving and you
But
need to take that breath,
yeah,
yeah,
you
go for it.
can. You don't have to close your eyes. You never
Right.
have to close
Right.
your eyes, you know? So
Right.
you just focus, but yeah. And the beautiful part too is when you and I were doing that and talking about it, if someone is listening, even if it's just the audio and they're just, it's on the car or whatever,
Yeah.
their breath is going to change.
Yes.
Even if they're
Yes.
like, I'm not doing it exactly what she's saying, their breath still changes.
Mm-hmm.
We as a whole, I mean, we are all one. That's been proven, right? So
Mm-hmm.
how I breathe is how you breathe.
Yeah.
Not now, we're not in the same space. But if we sync up now, how I breathe is how you breathe. If I start
Yeah.
breathing shallow and talking really fast, you're going to contract.
Right.
It's just the way it is. So
Yeah.
that's something to remember too. If you're in some place
Ooh.
where you don't feel safe or someone is you can tell that there's something going on with
Energy
them,
is off. Yeah.
change your breathing. Just
Mm-hmm.
change your breathing. It can affect. It's the same when you said earlier about the mom and the kids or whatever. If you can get your kids to do it with you, even better. But if you
That's
change yours
beautiful.
and you come back into the space, it's almost guaranteed that situation will shift, and the kids aren't going to know why. And you may not even, if you're not aware enough, you may not know. But if you're taking the time to take a breath, it's absolutely how someone breathes is how you're going to breathe.
Right. Right.
So,
That's beautiful.
It's the same if you're in a car,
goodness.
you're arguing with someone. Like people do this a lot. They get into.
Yeah.
I see it behind me in my rearview mirror a lot of times.
Yeah.
You can just fix your breath. You go, okay, I don't want to fight, and they want to. You can just stay with your breath. It's going to affect them. It's a vibration.
Right.
So that's the power of it. Also, is you can actually affect other people.
Can you talk about, what did you say, the 4, 7, 8?
Oh yeah. So that's what I'm saying is that if you go to let me just tie that up with this. If there's a breathwork circle to go to, or someone's having a group breathwork thing,
sure,
that is a particular style of breathing, and the result is a particular thing for each person. And that's why I do it in packages, and I support people through it because stuff comes up and people want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So, but that's me. That's a healing style breath, and that can be that moment, or it can be a duration. It can be a package thing. It can be a something you do with someone, one-on-one sessions. The other that's going around is the coping thing of the breath exercises, and there are several. And the one that I love is 4-7-8, and I use this on the plane because I don't like taking off for whatever reason, or if it gets really bumpy. Like I'm old enough now that I'm kind of used to the takeoff and I'm okay, but I keep my breath moving. But when it's bumpy, I use it also.
Yeah.
Because everybody gets nervous. So the 4-7-8 is you breathe in for a count of 4, you
Okay.
hold for a count of 7,
That's right.
and then you exhale out the mouth or the nose, but the mouth with the long exhale for 8.
8.
And if you think about the inhale, it's a little shorter.
Yeah.
Hold for 7. That lengthens the exhale. So while you're doing that and you're counting, you cannot be here. And you
Oh,
cannot be in your
right.
fear because you're
Right.
counting and you're breathing. So that brings you down. That you can do
I love that.
depending on where you are and what you're doing. Like I will do it consistently until the plane is at cruising altitude or until the bumpy stops.
Right. Right.
Because my rational brain knows everything's going to be fine, but there's the other part that goes, oh my God, you know. So that's
Yeah.
one exercise you can do. 4-7-8 is the go-to for me.
Love that. I love that.
And if you're having trouble sleeping, it's the same. Unless
Ooh,
you
that's
have,
right. We've talked about that.
yeah,
Yep.
unless you have medical things going on or some physical
Sure.
ailment that affects your sleeping patterns, you know, the adrenal issues or thyroid issues or whatever.
Yep.
But if you're just spinning in your monkey mind for some reason, if you go to four,
Right.
7, 8, then you're counting your breath, you're focusing on
Yep.
the breath. And more often than not, that will bring you to a relaxed state where you just fall off because the
Mm-hmm.
brain is
Mm-hmm.
not,
That's true.
when your brain is doing all that spinning, then all of those hormones are being released at the same
Right.
time, which is what's
Right.
going to keep you awake. So if you do the exercises 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, it's like counting sheep, count as many as you need to, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that should bring you down. Now, if you don't fall asleep after you do that, I would suggest getting up and walking around a little bit
Ah,
and just like think about how the breath feels going through your nose while you're walking
yeah.
around the house, while you're going to the restroom or getting a drink of water or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because anytime you focus on the breath, it takes you out of your brain. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to even
That's
be 4, 7,
beautiful.
8. You could just close your eyes and go, how
Yeah.
does my breath feel going through my nose?
Right.
Kind of hot in here,
Yeah.
you know, like, so then you're
Yeah.
not thinking about the
I
bills. You're
think.
not thinking
Yeah.
about this. You're not thinking about the plane
Yeah.
crash or whatever
Right.
it is,
Well,
you know?
and I heard something from Wayne Dyer.
Oh yeah. I love him. Loved him.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
And he talked about like when you start going to sleep and you got the monkey brain going on and you're worried about finances and you're worried about this and the kids and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
then you're going into your deep sleep with that on your mind, and so your body is getting those receptives and those thoughts, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even think of that. So
Yeah. I
the
saw that
last
too. I love him.
yeah,
I
right.
love him
And
so much.
the last 3 weeks, I've been just doing affirmations like,
Mm-hmm.
I am beautiful. I am strong. I am a surf babe. I am, I have money showering over me. Like just
Yeah.
these very simple, like thoughts that I have to help me. You are not scared of the unknown. You're going to stay
You
present.
welcome the unknown. Yeah. I
I
love it.
welcome the unknown.
Yeah.
I love the fan that's on my face or on my body. I love the sounds of the roosters, even though they wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But granted, that's
Yeah.
a little bit of
It's a
gratitude and
gratitude. Yeah.
affirmation. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
gratitude and affirmation. But
Yeah.
you start programming your mind, and so even if you go into programming your mind for the 4-7-8, it's going to become that habit. And that's something I
That's right.
talk about all the time with a lot of my guests, is just developing a habit. And even the last couple of days, I haven't done my coffee meditation, but I've been out in the ocean. And so
Yes.
that to
Different
me
meditation.
is very different
Yeah.
meditation, and
Yeah.
it works for me, but it's
Yeah.
not my normal of sitting there going home, not that I
Yeah.
do
And
that,
I
but
think that's a big reason why people don't do meditation or sit down for a minute with
right.
breath work, because I find that people are afraid to do it wrong. Well,
Yes.
I want to start meditating, but I don't know how to do it. Well, all you have to do is sit. We've had this conversation, I think, is you
Yeah.
just sit down
Yeah.
and just focus on the breath. And when your mind
Yeah.
starts to go, you go back to the breath. It's that
Yeah.
simple.
That's
It's that
simple.
simple. And so when you say, Dr. Dyer, he says about when your monkey mind and takes it in, our bodies are as if.
Mm-hmm.
So that our body is taking that in as if it's actually happening, and the hormones
Right.
are actually happening. So when you take that minute to do what you talked about, it's changed
Mm-hmm.
the narrative, then your breath changes. Even if you're not
Yes.
trying to change it, the breath
Right.
changes. So
Right.
that
100%.
and for me, that is so beautiful and so empowering.
Right.
So empowering.
Right.
And again,
Very
we're all
empowering.
human. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
Yes.
having the tool available to you where you don't have to buy anything, do anything, get up and
Yeah.
do anything is really, really, it's really freeing.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
freeing. Yeah.
And, just sort of talk about like, the breathwork circles. I was going to sort of elaborate a little bit on it,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be very vulnerable and transparent here.
Okay.
But like the third time that I did the breathwork, we stopped. We sat up, and it was all women, and we as women just shared what went through with us and what we talked about, and a
Good.
lot of
Yeah.
women had a lot of trauma. And I was just, very taken back by a lot of the trauma. Some of it was from their mom, some of it was from maybe a grandparent or a parent. And I remember feeling so thankful for my mom that I had to call her and be like, oh my gosh, mom, I just observed these women who were so heartbroken from their mom. And, like you
Yeah.
have brought me, you love and have loved my brother and I. So like, I call her the helicopter mom, right? But
Yeah.
I don't, I love it.
Yeah.
Like there's so many, and that's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And then somebody else had another experience, totally different. Well, my experience, and Mary, you might know about this.
Okay.
I had a couple orgasms
Oh, during the session? Yeah.
during the breath work. Is that really?
Yeah.
There
Yes.
you have it, folks.
Yes, because I've had clients stop because they're embarrassed and they go, oh, I feel like, I'm like, I know, it's okay. You're safe. And so it's very, very
Oh,
important
you're
that
safe. I love that.
it's very, very important. And anybody listening, if you go to a breathwork circle in a group of people, just check in and make sure that you feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
You have to feel safe. That
Yes.
facilitator is providing a safe container, because the breath moves what's stuck in the body. So, and we don't know what that is.
Right.
Oftentimes we think we've dealt with something, but it's kind of still lingering
Yeah.
someplace. And so, um, it's absolutely imperative that you feel safe in the space,
Yeah.
because that kind of thing that happened for you is very vulnerable and it's very
Very
intimate.
well.
And
Yeah.
so if someone is doing that work and not providing a safe space,
Yeah.
then get out,
Right.
just leave.
Yes.
You
Oh
have
my
to.
God.
And
Right.
so I would just say that I'm so happy that breathwork has taken off in the way that it has, and
Yeah.
it's so out there. And it's very similar to how yoga took off. And so I would
Yeah.
just say, just be careful of who the facilitators
Yes.
are, do your homework, absolutely
100%.
do the breath work, ask people, go with a friend. And if you don't feel safe, don't participate, because
Yeah.
it is intimate. It is
Very. Yeah.
very vulnerable. And it's
Very
more
vulnerable.
often than not, 99.9% of the time, it is blissful, as you can attest to now. And
Yeah.
so if your facilitator
He was
is
beautiful. He was
good,
amazing.
good, it's so
Amazing.
important.
Yeah.
Good. I'm
Cause
glad that
I
was the
mean,
experience.
yeah. And I had him for all three of my breath works. And, but that third one, I think I really opened up, became vulnerable
Yeah.
within myself. I finally had my mask off from everything that was going on with my life. And then like, people were going around and, and he's like, well, Jen, how was your breath work? And I'm like, well, I had a couple orgasms, y'all. And they were like, the ladies are like they're all excited. I was like,
Yeah.
it was amazing. I mean, I have
Yeah.
nothing to complain about.
Yeah. Yeah. And more
And
often than not, you don't complain. There
right,
isn't really anything to
right.
complain about. There's my first experience when I was learning, because mine comes from on the more of a shamanic side. It comes from Peru and that
Sure.
kind of thing. So
Oh my
it's
God.
very
Did you
deep.
really?
Well, I
Amazing.
didn't go there, but that's where it comes from. The my
Yeah.
mentor. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So for me, it was my first real experience was once I let go, because I was afraid to be vulnerable. I didn't trust, there were certain things going on. So in my training, as I was going, and I did a lot of breath work, my experiences got to be where I experienced the little girl in me that used to look out at the world and think anything is possible. I can do whatever I want to do. I can go wherever I want to go. I can be whatever I want to be. And I forgot that feeling because I'm a grown woman now. And so what I found was when I go to my breathing exercises, I can pull that feeling back anytime I need it. And it's really beautiful. So that speaks to, and you say this happened on your third time trying it, right? So again, that's a testament to, if you're on a healing journey, packages 3, 6, 10, whatever, because you had already had experience once or twice. So you kind of knew what you were dealing with. You were in a different state. So that's sort of a testament to what I was saying
a testament to your work.
Yes. Oh, thank you. And how trust is built and how far the work can really go, because that's where my passion is. That's where my love is I'm here to empower people. I mostly work with women. Because that's just where I followed that path. That's where it's gone. But I have worked with many men as well. But when that healing work with women is so profound, and it's such a passion of mine that I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine not doing it.
Right.
I just can't imagine not doing it. And I've been lucky enough that I haven't had to do. I met you and worked with you through word of mouth. And I think because I started that way, because there wasn't a lot going on socially on social media and all of that. In 2009, it was all word of mouth, and I was very busy for a really long time. And so I've been really lucky not to have to do a lot of promo and marketing and video on all the socials and stuff. So I'm really grateful for that, because it's not really my thing.
Right. Because you're focusing on your own stuff. And I think I myself personally was starting to get really frustrated with social, because I wasn't getting my messages across. And then all of a sudden I just, I had people just say, I had 3 people say, you need to start a podcast. I was like, okay, I gotta listen. And so I remember going and asking the universe, just saying give me signs, give me, and it just was bam, bam, bam. And I listened to it and I took off, and it's just been incredible. And it's like I told you earlier, it's really has given me purpose, because it's not just about the triathlons anymore. It's about how I have learned to live past triathlons as a woman, as somebody on a healing journey that went through a divorce, that went through a major change in my life, because
I observed all of it. It was beautiful.
You have. And if I look back at myself in 2016, 2017, getting ready for Ironman Kona, that was the ultimate goal, right? But if I look back at my photos, y'all, I look so tired. So tired. And, because I was fighting, I was in that fight mode for so many years.
Because you had goals and intentions out there, and that was what it required to get to them. Right. So I think now with the social media, and now that you've brought it to this really beautiful container. And you call it the healthy human. Well, that's the 4 levels, right? It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And so if you have that in your container, you have all that to offer anyway. You've done all of that. So it's a really beautiful container, and I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being on this podcast. And I believe this has been my longest podcast, but I couldn't not stop us. The flow was beautiful. And I also I would love to bring you on again to talk about the woman programming that you've done, because we talked briefly about that. And I think that would be another powerful talk about women, how we mold ourselves into a partner or relationship that we forget about who we truly are.
Yes. The people pleasing aspect of ourselves is just
Oh,
not, it's
right.
just not working for the long term. It hasn't.
No.
And now we're getting the evidence of that. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well, I will definitely bring you back on in the next couple of weeks for sure. And
Okay.
where can people find you?
So the easiest way, I've consolidated everything as well and kept it really
Okay.
small. And so I'm rebuilding my website because I have more stuff to add to it. But
Great.
the easiest way is either Instagram or Facebook are the two main
Okay.
places, or Mary's Breath Journeys at Gmail. You can always message me there,
Okay.
and I'll respond right away. But Instagram is probably the best. It's marys.breath.journeys. And,
Yep.
I'm
And I
on your
will,
page as well. Yeah.
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 And I will
And
put that in the
anybody
show
that wants to
notes.
reach me, if they can't for some reason, if they want to go through you, I mean, if you're okay with that, that's fine too.
That's 100%. Yeah.
And if anybody listening, if they want to give you feedback of, if they want a conversation around that stuff, that would be great too.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because,
Yeah. Because if women are, if we're struggling as women to, let go of that people pleasing and trying to figure out
Mhm.
boundaries and all that stuff, we'd be happy to discuss that as well.
Yeah. And
Because
I think it's too with men, if men are listening as well, because they want
right.
to understand as well, like what
Yes.
happened. And so I think it would be
Oh my
great
God.
insight
Right.
as well for
Yeah,
them. Yeah.
exactly. Because
Yeah,
in
so you can find me
reality,
in you could find
oh
me in
my
those
God.
places. Yeah, you can
Yep.
find me in those
I was going
places.
to say we
I do
can go.
one-on-one sessions. I do group sessions. I do Zoom.
Yeah. Perfect.
I'm now launching a different kind of workshop, and I'm up here now for
Okay.
the few months that I'm here because I really enjoy the in-person work. And
Yes.
so
I get
anybody
it.
that wants to do a session, I'd love it. I love Zoom, and it works great. But I'm also doing that as well in a
And
bigger way
you're
than I
in,
have been.
yeah. And
I'm in
you're in
Oregon
Oregon.
right now. So anybody that's in the Portland area, if you want to do breath work, reach out to me and I'll let you know where we can do it. Yeah, it would be great.
Super. Well, thank you, Mary. I
Thank you,
do have
Jen.
one last question
Yeah.
though.
Okay.
For the followers who are getting ready to transform or metamorphosize into their beautiful butterfly, because I've realized that I have gone into many cocoons and
Hmm.
become a beautiful butterfly. What's the one piece of advice that you could give somebody starting their own journey?
Well, the advice normally people come to the reason people come to some sort of breath work is because they're ready for change. They've made a big change, or a change has happened that they didn't plan. And so they're dealing with that. So I would say the biggest piece of advice for blooming from your cocoon is go quiet with the breath and listen. Eyes to see, ears to hear,
Beautiful.
and then see what you hear. And if anybody needs help with that, just reach out. I'm happy
Yes.
to help with that. So that's how it worked for me, is when I got really centered and started listening.
It
Things just flow differently from that place.
does.
It's not a lot of
It
work
does.
to spread your wings. It really isn't. I mean, yes, the journey
No.
can be difficult, but if you stay true to the breath and to what you hear, if you move from
Mm-hmm.
that place, the universe goes, here you go. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's go. And
Let's go.
it's time to fly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
And and
It's been fun.
followers, it's been fun. Followers, let us, well, first of all, like, share, comment, all of that fun stuff on your favorite platform, on your podcast platform. And then also like DM me or Mary if you
Yeah.
want her information. I will have all that in the show notes. If you want more information about what we talked about at the end, please, please, please let us know,
Yeah.
because we'd be happy to jump on a podcast
Yeah.
sooner than later, because I'm already booked up, which is crazy, but I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I
Yeah,
think
me too.
we
Thank you
all
so
need it.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Jen.
as I say here in Costa Rica with a little Texas twang to it, Pura Vida, y'all. Bye.
Bye.